My name is Abhilasha. I would like to know if one thing you would take back from India, Indian culture. Interesting.
What I would take back?
Yes.
What I want to take back or what I will?
What you would take back if you had a choice.
That's a very difficult question for two reasons. One is Indian culture is so vast. It's so vast, and to choose any one would almost be idiotic. The other reason is I tried to establish how close India and Bhutan is, how close we are. And when I say close, it means that a lot of Indian culture is already recognizable and already available. That said, I am in Hyderabad, so while this is available in Bhutan, what I would take back is probably chicken biryani.
Sir, my name is AB Raju, and may I know how do you see the latest trends in education, and how is it different from the time when you were a student?
How do I see?
The latest trends in education, and how is it different from the time when you were a student?
You make me feel very old when you ask that question. But the latest trend in education is here. And I'm not going to explain it. It's for you. You are the latest trend. This partnership between, Indus and TGS, this is state of the art. This is cutting edge. You are the pioneers. And not just TGS. I'm saying the fact that you all are together, learning, acquiring, growing, living together. This is the cutting edge of education. How is it different? Well, in my time, there was a lot of rote learning. And when we couldn't do rote learning, there was a lot of caning. And when we didn't want the caning, there was a lot of running away. We called it bunking. So, now, you get up and you ask questions. I still find it difficult to get up and ask questions. And one reason is because the education we receive was different. But I will not talk about my education, because while I treasure my education, while who I am is because and defined by my education, I must say that you are literally on the cutting edge of education. Students will not realize it in this and TGS, but you are pathfinders, you are trendsetters. This is what I see about today's education.
What was the closest that India and Bhutan got to having a back in what seems like a very amiable relationship?
A spat. What's the same?
A crack.
Crack. Well, you know that between friends you always have problems. If you don't have problems, then you're not friends. I've been Prime Minister only for 1 month, so far no problems. And I know that you'll have problems. If you don't have problems, then it is not a true friendship. But because you realize that you can have problems, you don't take things for granted. So just like you and your friends, or you and your parents, you can't take things for granted. Just because you are friends, just because you love each other, if you take things for granted and do not nurture it, you will have a big crack. You will have a big problem. So it is with India and Bhutan. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to understand that this is an exemplary relationship between a very big, very powerful country and a very small country. Countries that regard each other as equals. There's no other place on earth where such a relationship exists. But both countries, India and Bhutan, cannot take it for granted. Bhutan has a lot to get from India, to benefit from India. India has a lot to benefit from Bhutan too. And one of the most important benefits that India gains is trust and confidence of a friend. And in today's world, this is extremely important. And I do believe this is why Think Global School is a school, is an idea to stand on the rise.
I was wondering if India has looked into Bhutan's policy of G&H or what's the relationship with that?
The whole world has looked into Bhutan's policy of G&H. G&H has spread its wings. G&H has sparked the imagination of leaders, of academicians, of social thinkers, of philosophers, of economists throughout the world, in many countries. And for obvious reasons. We people are looking for an escape. We feel that we are in a pressure cooker. We need an escape. And we feel that G&H perhaps can give that escape. So, in India, like many other, which country are you from? Thailand, yes. So in Thailand also, there are people who are interested in G&H. There are universities who are interested in G&H and who are studying G&H. So there are many countries who are interested. So it is with India. India is also interested. We have exchanges in G&H, on G&H. And mind you, Bhutan is also interested in G&H. We don't know everything. We are still learning. This is why we have think tanks whose only job is to discuss, study, learn, understand, teach G&H.
TGS is also very interested in G&H. Our student council is in the midst of attempting to bring G&H into our school in kind of an innovative way of morphing those policies into how they could be applied to our setting.
Okay. If any school can imbibe G&H, and I'm not saying that because Alan is here, if any school can really take G&H seriously, it is TGS. And I say this for one reason alone. It takes a fundamental shift in mindset. You have to be willing, you have to have the courage to change the way you look at the world, to change the way you look at yourself. You have to be able and willing to transform your entire self. And this is what TGS has already done. You've transformed education, and education doesn't need a place. The world is a classroom. This is a brave concept, it's a new concept. G&H is also a brave concept. It is a new concept. And if you want to imbibe the values of G&H in a school, a few Bhutanese schools are trying, a few international schools are also trying it. But if you really want to go the full hog, I think TGS does stand a very good job. Yes, yes.
How has the Indian rupee crisis, has that affected trade with Bhutan, and if at all?
Rupee and dollars, it hasn't affected trade with India directly because rupee and miltrum, our currency, they are freely interchangeable. And when we import goods and services from India, we pay in the rupee. So the fact that rupee is depreciated, has depreciated against the dollar and other convertible currencies does not mean anything to us. We pay the same thing in rupee. It has affected us in one way, and that is the price of Indian goods are increasing. Inflation is hitting hard, and it's beginning to hit, it will hit even harder because the price of fuel, India has to buy fuel in dollars, which means it's spending more rupees for the dollar which means that the price of everything else is going to increase in India, and that increase in price we will also feel in Bhutan. So with the same amount of money what you could purchase last year, this year we'll have to purchase less and do with less. So it would make us that much more poor.
Good evening, sir. My name is Shrishti. All over the world, there is chaos, mistrust, and insecurity among the youngsters. So, how do you think we can resolve it?
Education. If there is chaos, mistrust among the youngsters, we have to ask ourselves, why is there chaos? And why is there mistrust? And then only we can start thinking about how to address those problems. So if the chaos is because there is no jobs, then we have to create jobs. If the chaos is because there isn't enough food, then we have to provide the food. And we have to allow for youth to be able to work for food. If the chaos is because there aren't enough good movies, we have to make good movies, right? If the chaos is because if the chaos is because you are not allowed to express yourself, because you can't pierce a second hole in your ear, then if that's the reason why chaos is occurring, or you can't write a blog, you can't express your opinion, then we have to address that. So it depends why the chaos, why it's chaotic. Fundamentally, it means that our youth are not happy. We have to understand why. But my view is, regardless of the problems, it would help if we had quality education. Good, solid education. Those who have had access to good education, founded on strong values and strong principles, that have taught people how to think, how to open their minds and accommodate the rest of the world, they are tomorrow's leaders. They will be able to address the challenges of this day. So I haven't answered your question, because I don't know what the problem is. Okay, but I do know that a very good starting point is good education. Okay?
Sir,
Okay.
I just really want to know, how was your schooling? Like, how was your schooling like?
I went to a boarding school. How was my schooling? That's the question. I went to a boarding school. The school was started in 1900. So today the school is 113 years old. It was begun as an orphanage. It started as an orphanage for Anglo-Indian children from Kolkata, and the school is in Darjeeling district. It's not an orphanage, but it was meant to provide education to Anglo-Indian orphans. Many Bhutanese studied there. That school gave, it was a Presbyterian school, had very dedicated teachers, as Presbyterians are, and gave us a good dose of discipline and understanding of hard work, and the education we received, that was special. We were lucky. Yes?
Sir, how do you see Bhutan in another 50 years, from now?
Bhutan in another 50 years from now. I'm not going to show that I'm a fool. Not because I don't have a vision, but because whatever vision I have will be irrelevant in 5 years. Things are changing so fast. Look at the type of schools we'll have. Yeah, with computers and phones and the laptops, iPad, schools that host guests, one traveling school. Just look at the schools. I can't even predict what a school is going to be in 5 years, let alone a whole country. And that is exciting, isn't it? I think that's fantastic. And because you can't predict what it is going to be like in 50 years, it also means that each and every one of us have a chance and the opportunity to be a leader, to determine how you want your school, your community, your country to look like in 50 years?
Do you think India will or had implemented some policies similar to the British when they implemented policies on India?
Have the Indians implemented?
Or will implement some policies similar to the way that the British implemented policies on India when they occupied them?
I know that after freedom, after India won its freedom, a lot of the systems continued in India. A lot of their policies also continued, but good policies. Like for instance, the railway system and the Indian administrative system, or the postal system, even the education system. So a lot of that continued. But in terms of policies that were not too good, that were divisive, that were racist, that was done away with.
Since you had studied in Harvard and also Pittsburgh, I was just wondering, were there any differences in the way the kids that you were learning with had grown up that you were talking about earlier, with how you were strong in opposition or they taught up? I was just wondering if there were any differences in how you went up and how people around you in that environment.
Well, when I went to, the question is whether I saw a difference in the way students in America were being brought up when I studied there. Firstly, I went to college. By college, we are too old. Bad has become bad, and good will hopefully stay good. But it's a bit too late. Still, University of Pittsburgh had 30,000 students. 30,000 students. And in that 30,000 students, we had every color, every type of student, good, bad, ugly, everyone. So I can't make a comment there. Obviously, when I did my master's in Harvard, people were really, really driven. They had made up their minds to succeed. They were really driven.
You mentioned that you got like influence of the voting in India. I was just wondering how which one actually does the voting system, whether it's
Voting.
yeah.
It's secret. You have to be 18 years old. It's a right. It's a right to vote, and it's by secret ballot. So whether you're voting for the individual, because some voting is for the individual, like for local government and the upper house, or if it is for the political party, like in the lower house, it is secret. And we use the electronic voting machine. Okay. Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.
On behalf of TGS, I'd like to express our utmost gratitude to both you and your wife for taking the time to come speak to us today. I know we all cherished our time in Bhutan as much as we possibly could, and it was sad that we had to leave and end our learning experience there. But we all greatly appreciate the time now to learn more about your country, even though we can't have that first experience. So thank you very much, and Kathleen Chela.